Oh, hello! Hello! I'm sorry for speaking this way. I'm just so enamored with the London Olympics that I've suddenly become British, so maybe I should present the entire show this way. Hello! I'm kidding around. I gotta level with you. I'm so totally not in the mood to do a program tonight. By the way, hi everyone. This is KDK, and this is August 4th, 2012. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And I gotta start out. And you hear that in the background? Yeah, that's the sound of air rushing into my microphone because I have a fan pointed right at my back. And I ain't moving it, so you're gonna have to deal with the background noise. Because it's fucking hot as a bitch tit in here. And I'm not... Well, trust me, if I turn on the air conditioner, it'd be worse. Because then it would be like, instead of hearing this, every time I turn the wrong way, you would just hear like... in the background, so... Yeah. I'm in a foul mood again this week, and I really don't want to do the show, so I'm going to bail on doing the show, I think. But to begin things, oh well, first I gotta do the usual thing. I gotta give out the info, okay? If you have names, numbers, or ideas that you would like to send to me to make prank calls tonight, by all means, you can try. You can try by sending them to KDK Pranks, KDKPRNKS, on AIM, or go to kdkprankcalls.com, click on the link for the chat room, and you'll find me in there where you can send me and speak to me personally, and send me your ideas that way. But I'm really so not in the mood for prank calls tonight. I didn't want to bail on you guys and just not show up. So at least I came, and I'm going to offer at least an hour's worth of entertainment. Who knows, maybe I'll get inspired and do something other than that, but, oh dear. To be honest with you, I just want to go, like, stab myself in the fucking ear right now. Just kidding, but not really. Oh shit, my cigarette went out again. Pardon me while I relight my cigarette here. Tonight's program is brought to us by Camel Crush Cigarettes. Everything in my life is going wrong. I was driving down the highway the other day, and I'm in the middle lane because, I'm not slow enough to be in the slow lane, not fast enough to be in the fast lane. I'm in the middle lane. And there's like this big chunk of rubber in the middle of the road, and I see it coming, and I look on either side of my mirrors, I'm like, there's a car on my right, there's a car on my left, there's a car right behind me, I can't stomp on my brakes. There's a big chunk of rubber in the road, and I have no other alternative but to fucking hit it. I can't avoid it. I can't swerve, and I can't stomp on my brakes, or the guy behind me is going to plow right into me, and I can't go into either lane, otherwise I'm going to cause an accident. So I'm just like, okay, here we go. I hang onto the wheel, and I put on the brake a little bit, and boom! I hit this giant chunk of rubber that probably flew off of a tractor trailer, and it hits the underneath of my car, and I start hearing like this wacky like scraping sound. And I'm like, oh shit, something's busted bad. So the next exit, I like move over and I pull over and I look over. I look under the car, just like expecting the worst, and I see that all it was is like this. There's this little, there's this big plastic plate that they, in a Volkswagen, they fit underneath the front end of the car, I guess just to protect like the underworkings of the car in case you like bottom out or something. I don't know what kind of protection that's going to offer because it's just fucking plastic anyway. But it's partially torn off and still hanging there. So as I'm driving, like the thing is just like hanging and scraping and like scooping up rocks and like throwing them up in the air. And I was already headed to work, so I didn't want to be late. So I drove it the rest of the way to work, which was only like 5 miles, big deal. And I was off the highway, so I was driving the side roads because I was afraid to be on the highway for fear that this big piece of plastic is going to fly off my car and go, smash into somebody's window and cause an accident on their part. So I was already in a foul mood yesterday. And then I worked, and then, yesterday I didn't work as a delivery driver. Yesterday I worked as the phone girl. Like the dude who answers the phone. Because my boss likes it when I answer the phone because he says that he's gotten compliments. Like people who have called and ordered food and talked to me, they've apparently called back and said, "Oh, it was nice to talk to somebody who actually speaks fucking English and can speak proper, perfect English and understand me." So he likes it when I answer the phone, so he pays me like $10 an hour just to come in and answer the phone. So fine, fuck it, I don't care. Otherwise I'd just be sitting around on my fat ass playing video games. Actually, I'm exaggerating. I'd be sitting around on my scrawny, skinny, bony little ass playing video games and watching movies. So what the hell, I don't care. And then I got out of work, and I didn't want to drive home with the thing happening that way because it's kind of hard to describe. It's like a big piece of plastic that fits underneath the engine in the front of the car, and it's there, I guess, to protect you when you bottom out. Although I don't know what kind of protection it would offer because it's just like fucking plastic anyway. How is it protecting anything? But after I hit this piece of rubber, it apparently busted it off in the front, but it was still hanging on in the back. So it was acting like a scoop. As I'm driving down the road, every little pebble that was in front of me was getting scooped up and thrown in front of the car, and I was afraid, oh shit, this thing is going to scoop rocks and throw it into the engine, so I need to take care of this. I can't drive home like this. So I went under the car and I was yanking and tugging on the thing, and I was eventually able to break it off. Ideally, I would have rather jack it up so that I can get underneath and screw it back up, but the screw holes that already held it in place in the front, they were already stripped, and it wouldn't have held anyway. So it needed to be replaced anyway. So before I left for work, I climbed under the car and yanking on this thing, and people probably thought I was the biggest idiot in the world because I'm under the car yanking on this this thing, I'm trying to rock it back and forth. You know how you can loosen plastic if you get it warm enough and you rock it back and forth, and that's what I did, and I eventually tore the whole fucking thing off and then threw it in the trunk of the car. And the only reason why I kept it is because I don't know what to call it. So when I go to the junkyard, I'm going to point at it and say, I need another one of those. I don't know what you call it. If you need a new headlight, it's easy to say, I need a new headlight. Or if you need a new grill, I need a new grill. But I need a new one of those big sheets of plastic that hangs under the car and protects you when you bottom out. I don't know what you call that. So instead, I'm just going to show up at the junkyard and point at it and say, I need another one of those. So I'm in a foul mood today because I had car trouble. I was able to fix it, luckily. But I'm still in a foul mood. And I'm so not in the mood to do a show tonight. Maybe I'll change my mood as the night goes on. Actually, I'm not in that bad a mood, but I'm just telling you and warning you, don't expect much from me tonight. But, listen to this, and I'll be back very shortly, very shortly. This is The Cure with a song called Out of This World, which is where I wish I could be right the fuck now. Before we move on, there was a story I wanted to tell you because I did a very, very bizarre interview earlier this week with someone from my childhood. And I know I've told this story on the air before, but perhaps I need to tell it again. It's a very simple story, and I can tell it very quickly. And I'm telling you the truth, the facts the way I remember them, because they will be contradicted during the call. When I was 12 years old, I was moving from one class to another. I suppose I was in like 7th grade. What grade are you in when you're 12 years old? Is that like the 7th grade? I forget. But I was moving from one class to another, and I was lazy when I was a kid, and I used to split my day in half, and I used to carry all my books for half a day at a time. And then during study break, I would go and switch books out. So it wasn't uncommon that I would be carrying like 3 or 4 big textbooks and a notebook, and then whatever a book I was reading at the time, because I was a voracious reader when I was a child, believe it or not. I used to read voraciously. I used to read like one book at a time, but I was always constantly reading like some kind of horror book or another. It was always something like Clive Barker or H.P. Lovecraft or Stephen King or something weird like that. No wonder all the kids thought I was weird. But I was walking through the hallways from one class to another, and I had like this big pile of books, and I was carrying them like minding my own business, going from one class to another. And there was this bully who ran up behind me, or ran up alongside me, and slammed my books to the ground. And much to my chagrin, because the hallways were crowded, like everybody else around who saw what happened was on my side. Even the females. Like this kid like slammed my books on the ground, and like even the girls were looking at him and were like, "You're a dick." And I went down, I went to pick up my books, and like the hottest girls in the school were helping me pick up my books, taking sympathy on me. I guess that's a bad sign too. Like they saw me as like a pity project, I guess. But everybody like within eyeshot was on my side. They're like, "What a dick. Like, why did you do that? Like, what did he ever do to you?" And I kneel down and I'm picking up my books and I'm minding my own business. And next thing I knew, I'm on my knees and I look up, and not only did this asshole knock my books out of my hand, but while I was defenseless on my knees, he tried to knee me in the face. Like as he's walking by. Like he could just knock my books down and keep on going, but no, he sat there and he stood there and he waited to try to knee me in the face. And I saw him coming with the knee, and I had a compass in my hand. So I ducked aside, I ducked his knee, I pushed it to the side, and I'll admit I stabbed him in the thigh with a compass. If you don't know what a compass is one of those things you use in like geometry class to like draw circles. So I stabbed him in the leg with like the metal part of a compass. And he screams out like, "What a bitch, you stabbed me." And everybody else is like, "Well, good. You deserve it, dick." Like even the girls were on my side. Like even the other guys are on my side. They're like, "That was a real dick move and you deserve what you got." So I stabbed him in the leg with a compass and he screams like a bitch. And he's carrying on like I'm a bitch because I stabbed him. And everybody else is like, "You were about to try to kick him in the face while he's on his knees defenseless. What kind of a pussy does that?" And everybody was on my side. Even though I was a really unpopular kid, like even they recognized that it was like a bad thing to do. After that is where our stories seem to differ. Because, okay, I'm going to play the interview I did with the guy who I stabbed in the leg. He's now 41 years old, still living in the same town that I grew up in. Even though he denies it during the call, the address that he lives at is the same address of his parents. So I'm not going to say any more about that. He denies it during the call, but according to IMDb or People Pages, he's living at the same address of his parents, still at the age of 41. So I'll play this now. And there is going to be one part that I need to delete. Hello?
Hello?
Huh?
Speaking.
That's the part I need to cut out because I didn't edit it out before. I didn't edit out the last name, so I need to talk real loud over it. And then we can get back to it.
I did.
I am, allow me to introduce myself, if you will, for a moment. I am a producer of a radio program entitled Lunatic Fringe. And don't come back at me about lies that I tell during the prank call, because it's not really an interview. It is an interview/prank call. So don't call me out on lies that I tell during the call. Afterward, I'll tell you what is a lie and what's real. Nationally syndicated radio program. And the reason, I'll tell you, obviously, Lunatic Fringe is not a nationally syndicated radio program, and I am not the producer of the program. I'm the host. But I need to be quiet so that you can follow. Why I'm contacting you is because you apparently went to school with the host of the program.
Oh, yeah? And who's that?
Are you 41 years old?
Maybe.
The host that I'm representing, his name is...
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember?
I do.
Well, recently, on the radio program, he recently told a story of a time during high school where apparently you two had gotten into an altercation, which resulted in him stabbing you in the leg with a compass.
That might have happened. Okay,
so that is my excuse. How everything that I say is true, because if I'm willing to admit that I stabbed the guy in the leg with a compass, I think once I admit that, I think maybe you begin to realize that there's nothing else that I'm not willing to admit to. Because if that was something that happened today, I think I would have wound up in jail, and it would have wound up in like a whole big bullying thing. Well, it either did or not.
It did.
So, the reason why I'm contacting you is because we'd like to follow up, and would you be willing to come on the air with Mr. and talk about the incident?
I rather would not, actually. I think my personal... You can let him know this, though. I think my personal behavior towards him was wrong, and I probably got what I deserved.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
So, your story actually corroborates his.
Yeah, no, I knocked his books out of his hands. And, he was carrying a big pile of books, and I knocked them down. And he retaliated. He retaliated in a rather way that took me by surprise. But I never, as a child then, I must have been, 12 years old. I never, expected that kind of thing, but I never went to any teachers about it or anything, because I felt that, in those days and times, 1980 or whatever that was, 1983, I deserved what I got. So you can tell that I'm sorry for what I did to him.
I don't interact with much. I just...
Okay.
I produce.
Okay. But I have no... I mean, you're bringing up some old memories of me, things I don't even want to remember anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, why not come on the air and talk about it? Have some fun.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You might think that that's good entertainment and whatnot, but I don't have any reason in my life to bring that back.
We would never put your name out over the air if you don't want that.
No, I don't want that. But I'm glad that things have worked out for. I remember him. I remember his mother. Well, she was a bus driver here in the town that I grew up in.
She was a bus driver.
Yeah. And and you know what? I'm glad that things have worked out for him.
You're furiously eating something.
Yeah, I'm having my lunch.
Can I ask? It may be funny on the air if we try to confront Dave and confront him about the particular facts in the case of Emily.
No, sir. You know what? You're bringing up things that are wrong.
Well, you don't need to call me sir. My name is Max. Max Velocity.
Max, you don't have to. You're calling me out of the blue. And asking me about things that happened when I was a child.
I know. I know it's a strange call. I know you never expected something like this to happen.
You don't want me to bring up things about your childhood that you are not so proud of? That's just, I don't want to think about this stuff.
If you want to, you can ask me anything. I grew up in Oxford.
Do you have issues of things that you did wrong when you were a child and things you'd rather forget and never want to deal with again? And, to have some stranger call you up on the phone and ask you about them, I consider, in fact, a little intrusive and rude. So
see, you can hear now the phone is beginning to overmodulate because he's getting so excited that he's yelling into the phone. And I'm actually, not only am I really surprised at this point that not only does he remembers it as though it were yesterday, but it seems as though he's still upset about it in some kind of a way. Like, he admitted, right off the bat, he did a bad thing. He never, if you notice, he never admitted the part where he was trying to knee me in the face. Like, I was down on my knees, prone, prostrate, and unable to defend myself while I have a handful of books, and this bastard tried to knee me in the face. And I make no mistakes, and I don't lie. I saw his knee coming at me, and I ducked aside, and I purposely stabbed him in the leg, because I happened to have a compass in my hand. Like, while I was trying to pick up my books, I stabbed him in the leg with the pointy part of a compass. And as he even says, he deserved it. Well, can I ask you just one final question?
No.
Is it true that when says that when he appeared at the principal's office that you were sitting in a chair in your underwear?
Yeah, no, that never happened either. You know what?
Oh, that's not true.
That's not true.
Oh, we caught him in a lie.
Yeah, you did. You caught him in a lie, but the truth is I never went to anybody about that. I never told my own mother. I never went to anybody about that.
I need to clarify. He is telling the truth. He personally never went to the principal about it, but because there were so many witnesses, it was reported by other people, so we both did wind up in the principal's office. He wasn't in his underwear. That's just something I say to be funny, but he wasn't in his underwear, but we did both get called down to the I'll tell you what happened. I stabbed him, and everybody in the entire hallway, and there's probably 20 kids who saw what happened, and they're all like, yay, hooray, they were all cheering me on, because they knew that this guy was a douche and a bully. And it's almost like when you go to prison, you have to pick a fight with the biggest bully to keep from getting your ass kicked. So that's basically what happened. This guy knocked my books down, and if he had just knocked my books down and walked away, nothing else would have happened. But he stood there, and he waited until I went down and tried to pick up my books, and then he tried to knee me in the face. I'm on my knees, and I look up, and I see him I see his knee coming at me. Like, he literally was, like, trying to knee me in the face. I ducked aside, and I stabbed him in the thigh with a compass. In the outer thigh, in the compass. Or, I stabbed him in the outer thigh with a compass. That's the proper way to put it. I don't deny that. But he's lying about winding up at the principal's office. Maybe he didn't report it, but there were so many witnesses in the hallway that other people had reported it. So I wound up at, I was in my next class. I went minding my own business, picking up my books and going back to my next class. And suddenly there's like, come to the principal's office. I'm like, oh shit. And I knew exactly what it was about. And when I went down to the principal's office, he was already there. So that's why I assumed that he was the one who complained about it. So, and I wouldn't blame him for complaining about it because he got stabbed in the fucking leg. I wouldn't even blame him for complaining about it because, he took it to one level and I just took it like 10 levels beyond by stabbing. But the one thing that he didn't realize was that the principal was friends with my mom because, like he said, my mom was a bus driver. And the principal knew me from when I was like a little kid, like a tiny little kid. And he knew I wasn't prone to violence and I wasn't a violent person. So he knew that if I ever did resort to violence, that I was like crazily provoked. So he was kind of on my side. And he asked what happened, and he told the story, omitting the part where he tried to knee me in the face. But he had already heard, like, reports from, like, everybody else in the hallway who had told the story already. He knocked his books down, and then when he went to go pick up his books, the guy tried to knee him in the face, and the guy just, like, stabbed him in the leg, just defending himself, because he was, like, sort of kind of in shock, because he just looked up and there's a knee coming at him. And his first reaction was just like, swap the knee aside and stab him with the compass. That's the one thing that he didn't count on, is that I knew the principal of school and he knew my mom and he knew that I'm not a violent kid. I never was a violent kid. He knew I got picked on a lot just because I have, like, physical problems. So kids used to like to pick on me, and to be honest with you, I think he was happy that I stood up for myself. So I never got in trouble for that.
He might have gotten in trouble for something else, and he's putting that as some sort of memory got convoluted.
I remember I went home from school that day, and like word was like spreading all around school because so many kids had seen what had happened. So like everybody's like, "Did you see that he stabbed the guy in the leg today?" And like word had gotten around, and my sister had heard about it. And my sister was one of those people who gauged her value in the world based on how many friends she had. Whereas I was the kind of person where I didn't want friends that weren't valuable to me. When I was a kid, I had very few friends, but the few friends that I had, I still have today. Whereas she hasn't spoken to anyone she knew in high school since high school. Pardon me while I smoke my cigarette here. I gotta smoke my cigarette before it goes out. Huh? And I remember going home from school that day, and she's like, "Do you realize what shit you caused yourself? Do you realize how popular he is? Now everybody's going to hate you." I'm like, "I hate everybody anyway." She's like, "Now they're all going to hate you." I'm like, "You don't get it. I don't want to be friends with these assholes." When I was in high school, I was friends with like all the jerks and losers that nobody else wanted to be friends with. Those were my friends. Because guess what? They were better people. They were smarter. They were more intelligent, they were more loyal, and I'm still in contact with them. Whereas my sister, everybody that she knew from high school, she doesn't know anymore. Because my sister was so desperate to be friends with people that she would have friends that were friends that she didn't even like. Because she was just so desperate to have friends. To her, that was like her whole goal, and that's how she gauged her worth in life. Like how many worthless friends she had. And I didn't give a shit. There were certain things I was good at in gym class. And the jocks would ask me to be on their team. And I'd be like, why would I want to play with you? You're a dick. There were certain things in high school that I was good at. I was killer at like track and field. When it came to like running track, I was awesome. And I remember you would show up at gym class one day and you're like, guess what? Now you gotta run fucking 2 miles in the next half an hour. I'm like, everybody else is like, son of a bitch. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I would run 2 miles and I'd be done. I'd be sitting there on the bleachers like watching everybody else finish like 15 minutes before they're done. And my coach, or my gym teacher, he was also a coach, he would come to me and he would say, why don't you try out for the cross country team? Because you're a really good runner. You have really good stamina. And I would say, why? And he would say, because you'd be more popular. And I'm like, what the fuck do I care about these assholes thinking I'm more popular? Why the fuck would I want these assholes to be my friends? And my coach would, he jerked back, like almost like I smacked him in the face. He's like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, for real. Why am I going to give up my weekends to sit here and run around like a jerk-off? What do I get out of it? Am I going to get better grades? And his thing was always like, oh, you'd have more friends. I'm like, I don't want these assholes for friends. I know they're assholes. I don't want them for friends. I know I can do it. I know I can beat them all. But I don't need it. What do I need that? Why do I want to give up my weekends just so I can like run around some dipshit road for bullshit? He was actually Coach Bacalar. That was his name. His name was Coach Bacalar. And he was so shocked because he would say, well, you'd be a lot more popular if you were on the cross country team and you were a winner. And we're like, fuck you, I'm already a winner. I don't need you to tell me so.
But that is for certain the truth. There was never any principal's office or anything about that issue.
I'm sorry I flustered you, but this is,
Oh, it's Hey, how are you? Glad to see you made. I'm glad to see you that you've made a good career for yourself.
Well, thank you. Whoever thought that I would wind up a famous comedian? Whoever thought?
A famous comedian. There you go. Good for you. Really good for you. And listen, I am sorry for some of those things, those battles we had as kids.
No, well, I don't hold any animosity. I hope you don't either.
I don't.
I always felt that I did the right thing because
you did, and you took some abuse as a kid, and it's not fair. That wasn't fair.
Right.
And I'm glad you called me.
So, how are you doing?
I'm well.
How is life treating you?
It's very good.
I noticed when I looked you up online that you're still living with your parents at the age of 41.
No, Christ, no.
And that is a total lie. Because the number that I called him at was the same number for his parents. The same exact number and address. So he's lying right there. He is still living with his parents. Which is fucking pathetic at the age of 41.
No.
Okay, well,
I live in New Fairfield, but I have a family. I have the whole family, house, and the dog, the whole thing, Dave.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So, Dave, you gonna come to one of our reunions? We had a 20-year reunion. It was a lot of fun.
I would never go back to that.
But why not?
All those people they shat on me every day, and I hate them all.
I know.
Why am I going to go back and pretend like I'm happy towards these people that made me suicidal and miserable for however long I was at school?
Yeah, you're right about that. I can see that. So, like I said, hey, for someone that might have made you miserable at times because we battled it out as kids, I am sorry for that.
That's what was so weird, is we never had any animosity. It just came out of nowhere.
I knocked you. It was just a mean thing to do for me when I knocked those books out of your hands.
Yeah, you were being a bully.
Yeah, I was being a jerk.
Yeah,
it wasn't fair to you. So I am. Hey, I'm glad you called me and got something, or also a repressed old memory off my chest. That's good. I feel better about myself today.
Do you really?
Yeah. Delightful lunch conversation. Thank you, sir.
So you're still living in?
Yeah. I'm not on the air or something right now, am I, David?
I'm recording so that I will play it on the air later. Well, I'm not on the air live now, but if you don't want to be on the air, I'll just bleep out your last name and play it anyway.
Yeah, please do.
Well,
please do. Anything like that.
Have you noticed that I didn't say your name?
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Maybe in the beginning.
You did in the beginning. I think you might have asked me if I was.
I'll have to.
Who I was.
I'll have to tell the engineer to cut that out, and I will. Trust me.
All right. I appreciate that. Hey, how was your mother?
Dead.
She died.
So I guess not so good.
Not. No. Well, she was always very nice to me too.
Was she?
Yeah, sure.
My mom was a bus driver. She didn't drive you.
Yeah, no, but she did. You know what? She drove us at certain times. Your mother was a bus driver when we went on field trips.
That's right. Everyone, my mom was cool. Every once in a while, she would organize trips to Kent Falls or stuff like that.
When you live in the same little town and go to preschool and whatever with the same people. Hey, I still live in this.
You never went over my house, did you? No, you never.
I knew where it was. I don't think we ever had as I would say in this day and age, a play date, But
I made a shit bundle off that house.
Oh, good. You sold it during the high times?
Right before the market crash, I sold that place. My mom is dead, and I had to clear that place out. It was almost like an episode of Hoarders. Because my mom died when she was 55. My dad didn't die until he was 60. And in that 5-year period, my dad was a hideous hoarder, but only in certain places. Only in the garage, in the basement, because my mom would never allow him to hoard in the proper of the house. So,
all right. Well, thank you for calling me today.
Why are you in such a hurry to go?
I really, because you know what, I'm eating my lunch. I gotta get back to work.
What do you do for work now? Well, you know what I do for work.
I am. I have a used machinery sales company.
Used machinery sales?
Yeah.
You want to know what I do for a living?
Talk? Comedian?
Well, no, the comedy doesn't do so well. I make most of my money off of voiceover work and video games and under different names.
All right, what would be the best way to? I'm going to have to look you up. So, what's the best way to look you up under your real name, or
are you in front of a computer?
I am not, but I will be.
I suppose the thing I'm most famous for is doing prank calls. I used to sell CDs of prank calls, but I don't anymore, just because I don't need the money no more.
Good. Well, I don't know if you got what kind of great material you got from me, but like I said, Davey, you touched on a subject on me that's something, when you're a kid, you do shit that you
You sound really different than I expected. Like your voice, like, is a lot different than I expected to hear. How about mine? Everybody always tells me I sound the same.
You know, I thought you were a Brit. You have a little British accent to start, correct?
Oh, I do all kinds of different
some
voices.
Accent, yeah, you were doing some sort of, old man official.
Oh yeah.
Accent at me, and then
that's the prank call thing. I do all kinds of different crazy voices.
All right, that's good for you, man. I'm really, you know what? Good for you. I'm glad that you've made it for yourself.
I've made nothing.
Yeah, you know what? You didn't say, but you still haven't told me what's the best way to look you up on a computer.
If you use Google, just type in the words prank calls, and I'm actually going to go do it to see how I'm doing. I'm right in front of my computer, so I'm going to do it like while I'm talking to you. If you go to Google and you type in the words prank calls, PRANKCALLS, and let's see how I'm doing. You there? And that was me being so stupid that I didn't realize I was in the same window I was using to call him. So I tried to check out myself on Google and accidentally hung up on him. But I call him right back, and he picks right up. But he wants to finish real quick because he's busy with his kids. Hello?
It's okay.
So if you go to, I just checked it out for myself, just to see how I'm doing. So if you go to Google, you type in the words prank calls, PRANKCALLS. Are you in front of a computer right now?
No, I'm not actually. I'm eating my lunch and stuff. But I can remember what you tell me.
I am number 4 on the list. So
okay, number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there any name or something to look at?
The world's 4th, and I was actually trying to throw him off because according to the list that I looked up when I typed in the prank calls on Google, I was actually number 3, but I told him I was number 4 just to try to throw him off of it. Most famous prank caller.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't make money off of that shit. That's just something I do for fun and hobby.
All right. Good for you.
The part that makes money is doing, like, they hire you and they pay you like $50,000 to like go in and like do like 5 minutes of work, like speak these lines of dialogue for some stupid video game. So
yeah, so that's good. Then you should do that as much as you can.
You play video games?
Not really, no.
Have you ever heard of a game called Elder Scrolls?
No, I'm really not. That's not my thing.
Have you heard of a game called Diablo?
No.
You never heard of? Okay, whoa, wow.
Yeah, there's some people. We're just. I'm just not into that type.
You married?
Stuff. Yeah, I'm married with kids.
Oh, how many?
2 boys.
Oh,
yeah,
good for you.
Hey, Colby, you want to say hi to this guy? Say hi.
Hi.
That's cute.
Anyway, he just got home from his little camp. I got to take care of him, get him fed, and then I got to get back to work. Listen.
Back then, did you realize that I had the gay?
What's that?
Back then, did you realize that I was queer?
No. Never, no.
That's how I took it.
That's not, you are, hey, that's all right. And I don't have an issue with that either. It's not an issue.
I was thought you had
I'll tell you this. I wouldn't have, I really wouldn't have, never really gave it much thought as a kid or even now, It's not a big deal to me.
You actually sound like Robert Downey.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, listen, Dave. I gotta run. This kid needs to be fed. I appreciate you calling me, and really good luck out there. I'll check you out. All right.
I forgive you.
Yeah. Hey.
Forgive me for stabbing you.
Too. I forgive you too for stabbing me. I deserved it. Sometimes in life there's things you deserve. That was something I did.
Well, good.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
sir? Thank
Peace
you.
out, my nigga.
Yeah, peace out. Bye.
Keep me around my whole life long, and when I'm gone, don't you bury my bones. Keep me around. Knit a sweater from my hair, string a necklace of teeth, or just leave me there on the back porch where I can feel the breeze. Keep me around my whole life long, and when I'm gone, don't you bury my bones. Keep me around. It's not that I'm jealous, I just make a lovely stand from brothers. And you can toss your keys into the caps of my knees when you come back from town. Keep me around my whole life long, and when I'm gone, don't you bury my bones. Keep me around.
Maybe he could hang out. My fingers in liquor.
Pickle my fingers in liquor and leave them lie in a drawer. And you can hang your toes from what's made out of my clothes on the back of the door. Keep me around my whole life long, and when I'm gone, don't you bury my bones. And when I'm gone, don't you bury my bones. And when